All right, this is for A&P, Chapter 18, Urinary System, and we are going to start on slide 4 and page 408 in the new book. Okay. All right. I don't know where it is in the old book. My daughter has my old book. All right. Oh my gosh. I have got to have somebody cut this hair. What do you do when you have to stay at home and then your hair looks like this? What? Okay. All right. So hang on tight for this one. And this one can be quite confusing. Now you're starting on slide 4 with sort of an overview. It starts with the kidneys, all right? And you have lots of different views there of the kidneys, and you have those on figure 18.1 as well. And that just goes to show you where the kidneys are. It does talk about the kidneys being retroperitoneal, and we know that means that they are not included in the peritoneal space. Remember the peritoneum, that covering of the GI system and the abdominal cavity, but these are retroperitoneal, so they're not covered by peritoneum. They also, your book says, are protected by the lower posterior part of the rib cage and are located under the muscles of the back and behind the parietal peritoneum. So you're going to feel them at the bottom. If you feel the bottom of your rib cage, you're going to find your kidneys if you go straight back, and they lie just a little bit below that, or maybe even tucked up underneath it. What we really want to start talking about is the gross anatomy of the kidney. You've got a good picture. This is a really great picture. It's figure 18.2 of the kidney. And look at that as we're going through, all right? And it's going to cover the next couple of slides probably. But this gives you a really good idea of the gross anatomy, the big pieces of the kidney. Talks about the hilum, and the hilum is right there. If you look like, the kidney looks like a big lima bean, okay? And then you've got the round part, and you've got the part that kind of dips in right here, okay? So if you turn that lima bean to the side, the part that dips in right there is the hilum, okay? And it says the hilum is where the vessels and the nerves come in. It also is where my ureter connects. Remember, your ureter is what drains urine from the kidneys down to the bladder, which is the collecting reservoir, your bladder. So your hilum is where you have all those good nutrient-rich, blood-rich vessels, and then you have the connection of your ureter. Then going on, it talks about the renal cortex. It's the outer part of the kidney. That's about all you really need to know for that. And you can see that outlined. You can see the cortex in both pictures. You've got a drawing and you've got a picture of a real kidney there. So the cortex is the outer part. The renal medulla is just the inner part of the kidney. And then the renal pyramids, and you can see those because they're triangular shape. See all those renal pyramids going all the way around. They dip down into the medulla, and you can see that. And you can see the tip of the pointy part of each one of those little pyramids. The renal pyramids, you have the renal papillae, okay? So and it looks a little white in this picture, but you can see the very tip of that pyramid is the renal papillae. Then you have the renal pelvis, which is an expansion of the upper end of the ureter. You can find that pretty easily right there, and it looks like where the ureter comes up, and then you have a broad section of white. See the ureter coming up and it expands off, and that is the renal pelvis. And you can see how they kind of expand off into little branches right there. Okay, you guys see that? Those are called calyces. And those are, if you can tell right there, each calyce is connected to a renal pyramid. And that's going to make a little bit more sense later. Then we have the microscopic structure of the kidney. That's the next slide. This is going a little bit further down, all right? So we looked at the big pieces, which are important to remember. And then we're going to talk about the glomerular capsule and the glomerulus. Actually, we should talk about a nephron. All right, your nephrons are what we're going to start breaking down. Your book says millions of nephrons make up each kidney's interior. The shape of a nephron is uniquely unmistakable and admirably suited for function of producing urine. Okay, you should write that down. Nephrons responsible for producing urine. Looks like a tiny little funnel with a very long stem, and we're going to break that down, okay? So if I'm looking at, we're going to look at a picture in a moment as well. If I'm looking at a picture of a nephron, what I'm going to see is kind of like a little cup, all right? And that little cup is going to be called the glomerular capsule. Most often we will call that the Bowman's capsule, all right? And inside that capsule is a good little collecting area, and it's going to be surrounding what we call the glomerulus. And the glomerulus is very important because the glomerulus is the filter. And you can see in your book on 409, or wherever it is in your book, it says the glomerulus is a network of blood capillaries tucked into the glomerular capsule. And what do we know about capillaries? We know that capillaries allow, in just everywhere we have capillaries, allow the exchange of wastes and good stuff back and forth. They have that membrane where I can get rid of stuff and I can take stuff in. So the glomerulus is able to take in the fluid coming in, or whatever it may be, not the fluid, but the fluid, the fluid coming in to Bowman's capsule, and the glomerulus, being the filtration system that is, the net-like filter, is going to be able to take out impurities and disperse them wherever they need to go. Notice it also talks about an afferent arteriole and an efferent. And remember, afferent is to bring things to, and efferent is to bring it away. So it says that the small artery, the afferent artery, delivers blood to the glomerulus. So afferent means to bring it to. And then it is filtered, and the efferent arteriole, drains the blood away from it. Okay. This partially explains the high pressure that exists in the glomerular capillaries, and that's because there's so much blood trying to get into that capsule to be filtered. All right, that fluid, that blood fluid, the fluid going in. Okay, so there's high pressure in the glomerulus because there's a lot trying to go in to be filtered. Think about trying to push a large amount of water through a small filter. Okay, so that's what it would be like. So there's a lot of pressure there. And then from that little glomerulus capsule, the Bowman's capsule with the glomerulus on the inside, you're going to start seeing a tubule. Now there's 4 parts of this tubule, and you're going to hear the word convoluted. And convoluted just means that it is twists and turns everywhere. There's all kinds of twists in it. And the first part you're going to see is the proximal convoluted tubule. And it's proximal because proximal means closest to, and this is the closest to the Bowman's capsule. Okay, so the proximal convoluted tubule is the first segment of the renal tubule. The nephron loop is actually going to dip down very far, make a little loop, and then come back up. Okay, we're going to talk more about that in a minute. It's just an extension of the proximal tubule. So you'll have we're going to just keep going back and forth. You're going to have your Bowman's capsule, okay, with your glomerulus on the inside, then the proximal tubule that's coming down. Remember, it's all convoluted, all right, twists and turns. Then you're going to have a long dip, and then you're going to have the loop of Henle. Okay, and we called it over here the nephron loop, but most commonly you can see it says Henle loop. We call it the loop of Henle. So you're going to have the loop that comes down right here, and it's going to go back up. And when it starts to come back up, you're going to see the distal convoluted tubule. Okay, remember, convoluted means it's going to twist and turn again. And then we have a collecting duct. And the collecting duct is very straight, and it's part of the renal tubule, and distal tubules of several nephrons will drain into this collecting duct. So it's not the only each nephron doesn't have its own collecting duct. There are several nephrons that will drain into one collecting duct. We're going to look at a very good picture. Hopefully it's on here in just a minute. All right, we did all the ducts, so we're good all the way. I don't even know where I'm at. We're now on slide 10. All right, I'm going to put this over here. This is not good. That's not good either. Is this better? All right. So in slide 10, we're looking at location of nephrons. Now, you can see a couple of nephrons there, and you can see how we've got blood supply that's going to the glomerulus, okay? And you can see red, and we know that's an arteriole. Remember, red's always red in the books. Arteries are, and we know that we go from arteries to arterioles to capillaries. And remember that we're being filtered through the glomerulus, so we're going to have arterioles emptying into that glomerular capsule, that Bowman's capsule there, and that way that it can be filtered. And you can see that right there, and you can see there's 2 of them on both sides there, one on the left side, one on the right side, and you can see in the middle how they actually connect to a collecting duct. So follow along. All right, look at your book, Follow along with the Bowman's capsule through the proximal convoluted tubule, and then you're going to see a dip down and then a loop, and that's the loop of Henle, the nephron loop. As it comes back up, that's the distal convoluted tubule. Remember, it's twists and turns, and then it's going to come straight down into a collecting duct. Remember, I have more than just one nephron that empties into collecting duct. So figure 18.3 gives you a good idea of what two nephrons look emptying into one duct. The next slide is the renal corpuscle, and it just gives you a very, very up close look. You can see the afferent arteriole. Remember, afferent is blood coming to, so that's the blood coming into the glomerular capsule, being filtered by the glomerulus, and leaving during the afferent arteriole. You're also going to look at the juxtaglomerular cells, so we're going to talk about the juxtamedullary nephrons and the cells in just a minute. Okay. Next slide, overview.